You know, we all have that one friend, right? The one who treats their own birthday like it's just another Tuesday. But have you ever really stopped to wonder why? Well, it turns out the answer is way more complex and honestly, way more fascinating than you'd probably guess.
I mean, you know the type. While some of us are planning a party for weeks, they just seem kind of confused by all the fuss. There's no big celebration, no countdown. They might not even bring it up. It's such a huge contrast, especially in our culture that's pretty obsessed with celebrating everything.
But here's the thing. This isn't just about being low-key. This one simple choice can actually pull back the curtain on a person's entire inner world, how they see themselves, and their place in the grand scheme of things.
Yep, that's right. The way we handle our birthdays can be a little window into our relationship with our own identity, with social pressure, and hey, even with time itself. So, let's break it down. Okay, first up, let's talk about the psychology of self-worth. It turns out, for people who skip their birthdays, their sense of value usually comes from an internal compass, not from what's happening on the outside.
So psychologists have a term for this. It's called an internal locus of identity. Basically, all it means is that your sense of I matter comes from inside you. You just don't need a party or a mountain of gifts to feel validated. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got a self-worth that's steady. It's internalized. It just is. On the other side, you have a self-worth that kind of goes up and down based on external proof. You know, the birthday messages, the gifts, the attention. People who skip their birthday, they just don't rely on that whole social ritual to feel like they exist.
And here's the really cool part. Research actually suggests that people with this strong internal compass, they often score way higher on measures of authenticity. It makes sense, right? They're not putting on a performance. They're just quietly and confidently living life on their own terms.
All right, the second big idea here is a totally different way of looking at time. And it's not about ignoring getting older, it's about seeing the whole passage of time in a really unique way. So the technical term is low temporal landmark salience. I know that's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. For these folks, a birthday is just another square on the calendar. They see time more like a continuous flowing river instead of a road with a bunch of checkpoints or milestones.
This quote just nails it perfectly. Every day is equally valuable or equally meaningless. When you see it that way, personal growth isn't something that happens once a year. It's happening gradually, all the time. The specific day you were born, it just doesn't hold any more weight than any other day.
Okay, our third and final point is something I think we can all relate to: social energy. For some people, the cost of a birthday party is just way too high. And no, we are not talking about money here.
You see, birthday parties demand a ton of what sociologists call emotional labor. This is all that invisible work of managing everyone else's feelings and expectations just to keep the whole day from going off the rails.
I mean, think about all the jobs you have to do. First, you've got to manage everyone's expectations for your day. Then you have to perform gratitude even for that gift you know is going straight to the back of the closet. And on top of it all, you have to navigate all these complex social dynamics. For some people, that's just exhausting. But here's the crucial distinction. This isn't about being antisocial, not at all. It's about being socially selective. These people often feel like they have a limited budget for social performance, and they'd much rather spend that precious energy on connections that feel real and genuine, not forced or obligatory.
In fact, you could look at this whole thing as a really healthy form of psychological boundary setting. It's a quiet way of saying, hey, I really appreciate the thought, but I need to protect my own energy, and that means opting out of rituals that totally drain me.
So, when we put all three of these pieces together, the internal self-worth, that different view of time, and the need to budget social energy, we start to see this complete, fascinating picture of a different kind of psychological wiring. So let's just recap the three core traits of what we're calling the birthday skipper. 1, their validation comes from the inside. 2, they see time as a continuous flow, with every day being equal. And 3, they're super selective about where they invest their social energy. See, it's a really consistent and logical mindset.
And hey, if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, that sounds exactly like me, then I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not broken, you're not weird. You might just be wired for a different kind of life, one that's a little more authentic, a little more internally driven, and a little more self-aware. And that is absolutely 100% okay.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. When we feel that urge to push celebrations on other people,
Is that really about honoring them? Or is it maybe more about satisfying our own need for these social rituals, for our own validation? Definitely something to think about.